Hey guys, this is Rodrick coming at you with another video. Uh, so today, if you follow me on the amino apps, you'll know that today's decision to record this particular video was the result of a poll I did. If you want to catch those, I will be doing them on the amino apps. So be sure to follow me on either the food or cooking and baking amino. Alright, so today I'm making sliders. I utilize mixed meat, and this recipe is meant to be keto friendly, so there is no bread crumbs, no bread at all. I don't use rolls. I use a butterhead lettuce, and I wrap it in that. Alright, so first we're going to start by dicing up this carrot. It doesn't have to be a very big carrot, but we're going to dice that up. Alright, before I continue, as you can see, the board is shifting around, so I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick I learned in the kitchen. Now, as the surface moving around on you can be a hazard to accidental cutting, you want to take a damp towel and place it under your cutting board. As you can see, I actually have to use some force to get that to wobble. That's going to keep you from moving around as you're cutting the food. Alright, so we're going to cut that and then let that flip over there. That'll keep us from wobbling around as we're cutting into this thing. So for this recipe, I'm using carrots and mushrooms to fill in the space that the breadcrumbs would normally take up in homemade burgers and custom burgers like that. Some places do it 100% beef patty. We're actually not using beef at all, so besides this actually makes some pretty good fill. Adds a little diversity in the texture and flavor. There you have the diced carrot. Next thing I'm going to add is some cheese. This is some pepper jack. I actually quite enjoy that inside the burger. Of course, you can always leave this out if you're not much of a cheese person. Alright, get that all into a pile. can chop up any of the bigger pieces a little extra. And throw that in the bowl with the carrots. So this is an ounce of cheese total. Just so you're keeping it, if you're trying to keep count. So 1 carrot, 1 ounce of cheese. Alright, next, 2 pretty decent sized segments of a portobello. I actually also like this recipe a lot with oyster mushroom, shiitake. There's a product called Forced Medley that you can buy at the local grocer. It's pretty good. Alright, and that'll break up as you're mixing it. If you want it any smaller, it's not too, you can go ahead and do that, but that's about what I do. Alright, as you've probably seen in some of my videos when I dice the onions, you should always leave the root ball intact. There are many ways, of course, to dice the onion, but this is always the easiest. We're going to cut into it. Being extra careful because I just sharpened these guys. Oh. And we're going to cut into it. After doing horizontal cuts, we're going to do some vertical cuts here. Alright. And we're just going to cut it as if we were cutting it normally now. As you can see, because of the ring texture and the horizontal and vertical cuts, you're getting, instead of whole rings, you're getting tiny little diced bits of onion. Alright, sometimes you'll see some larger chunks in there just kind of pass through the knife. That's impossible to fully avoid, but this is the most efficient, fastest way to get this sort of dice. And I'm only going to be using about 2/3 of what you just saw, so you don't actually have to do a whole half an onion. And you can, of course, adjust to your personal needs. So I'm going to put those back into a storage container. Alright, for the moment we are done with the cutting board. We won't need that again until after the burgers already start cooking, so we can start preparing some toppings. I'm going to mix that thoroughly. And then starting with some blended salt and pepper. You're going to sprinkle it on. All these seasonings are to taste. I'd start with half a teaspoon if you want to get an exact measurement, but I usually do kind of an eyeball here. That was coriander, a little bit of garlic powder. And this is cumin. Alright, now we're going to want to mix that throughout this blend here. Alright, as you can see, I'm adding in the ground meat. So that's some ground pork right there. I'll be right back with the ground turkey. Alright, this is a little frosty because I'm cutting it a little earlier than, or preparing this a little earlier than I initially meant to. It's ideal to have this fully thawed out. I needed another hour or so. Which is fine, it's still malleable, but it's really, really cold. Alright, freezing. Alright, so next for all that meat, I'm going to use a single large size egg. Lance the yolk and toss the shell. Again, I've probably mentioned this a few times, you can always recycle the shells. I'd rinse them out if they were raw like that by mixing them into your compost pile if you have one. Alright, so next we're going to want to add a little olive oil. And I'm going to want to do a little bit more salt and pepper blend. And we're going to knead that into the meat. Oh. If you have long, thin hands like me, this is going to be absolute torture with something this cold. Alright, so I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes, warm up a little bit, and I'll be back. Alright, while that's sitting for a second, we're going to prepare some topping here. Now, of course, you can use whatever onion you like. I'm particular to the flavor of the red onion, but there is no wrong choice with this. If you enjoy it, go ahead and use a Spanish onion, a white onion, a yellow onion, whatever you want. This guy's a little soft, so he's crushing a little as I'm cutting. Again, because he's so soft, it's breaking apart a little, but that's how you cut them, nice and paper thin. You can cut them a bit meatier if that's what you like. Most of the food is enjoying it, so do what you like. Alright, so as you can see, I've tared the scale to the weight of the plate, and I'm going to grab some olive oil and splash a little bit into the palm of my hand here. Okay, now we're going to massage that in. All right. That's actually really good for the skin too. So as you can see the weight right there, we're actually going to measure it out. That was a little fat. All right, 2 ounces. Now, as you can see, the meat is not sticking to my hands as I'm working it. And that's the point of the olive oil. All right, 2 ounces. That brings it up to 4. And we're going to repeat this process until all the patties are done. Okay. So I'm going to cut out. I'll be back when the next step comes along. Real quick, if you wanted to make this into a full-size burger patty, you just want to go a bit bigger. Something like that. About the palm of your hand is all you really need for a good burger patty. But again, today's video is all about the slider. Fun fact, my 2-ounce sliders are actually a little bit heavier than the 10-to-1 patty that you get at a fast food franchise. As well, my 2-ounces here are 8-to-1. So that's 8 patties makes 1 pound. Alright, just so you guys can see, I've got a different dish because I've run out of space on the other one. So what we're going to want to do here is just click that. It's going to zero or tear to the plate, which means now this is the 0 point. If I take this off, it goes negative. Alright, I'm going to finish out that making those patties. Alright, so as you can see, this makes quite a few patties. I've got 10 per plate for the big plates, plus 4, so that's 24 patties all together. So that'll feed you for a couple days if you're eating them by yourself, or yeah, it's a good thing to have at a family gathering. All right, following up with that last clip, we're going to start heating up our pans. So we're going to start off by adding a little bit of olive oil, not a lot, just enough to coat the bottoms really. This will keep the burgers from sticking to the bottom of your pan here. Alright, remove that from the heated surface, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so I'm heating these pans up still. I've got the burgers laid out so they're easy to grab and transfer into the pans. You got to remember that that's actually heat source, so we want to make sure that's not too close. And I have my splatter screens. That's going to keep me from making the mess all over my stove, potentially starting a grease fire. All right, so now while that's working, it's your perfect opportunity to start. There we go. To start up your dishes so you're not struggling on those at the end of the day. Trying to find a good angle here. Alright, you can tell by the smell, well you can't but I can, that the oil is hot. So we're going to pop these right in there, okay? In the larger skillet I can fit about 4. In the smaller skillet, actually I can probably push 5. And in the smaller skillet we don't want to go past 3. Turn that one up, turn this one down. Alright, this is it's time to turn them, and it should look about like that. Nice and dark, and then we're going to put a little bit of cheese on one of these. The rest are going to be burnt, just plain. And to finish out, I'm going to wrap up a burger right here for you guys. You got pepper jack on a butter leaf lettuce, and basically whatever you like, however you build your normal burger. Alright, I hope you guys enjoy and have a wonderful day.